You were born with individual strengths and a unique purpose. Don't let fears, false beliefs, or life's happenings diminish your influence. It's time to live and lead for impact. Host Kirsten Ross, expert of transformation, will help you defeat the drama and overcome the trauma that can stop you in your tracks. You'll gain focus, find confidence, and take bold action. Unleash passionate, purposeful you. Let's go.
Welcome to the Live and Lead for Impact podcast. I'm Kirsten Ross, your host. This is episode number 126. Today, we're going to talk about capturing extra time and decreasing stress. I'm going to share 6 quick questions you can ask yourself to achieve both. So I think it's pretty safe to assume that if you're working towards making an impact, life is busy. You're almost certainly juggling, coordinating, prioritizing life, relationships, self-care, hiccups, money-making endeavors, impact activities, if the two are not entwined, and then all of the extra activities that surround any and all of the above. Most of us would probably say life is busy, but good. While you're increasing your bandwidth, however, it's so important to minimize stress. Busy and energized is great, but stress takes the energy to a negative place. Overwhelm is never good, and stress takes a toll on our impact, our bodies, and our lives. I always say, you can live that way for a sprint, but not a marathon. So here are 6 quick questions. Answer them and then take action to move from overwhelmed to calm, or at least calmer. So the first is, what can you stop doing? Are there rules that you live with in your house because you grew up that way? Your mom made you do it, so now you have to? Rules about laundry, making the bed, dinners, and more. Sit back and start fresh. Can you relax some of the rules of the house for you? I still remember the dinner I made when my boys were little. I was a single mom and a business owner, and life was super, super busy. They sat at that table and said, "Oh, Mom, you are the best cook. You should have your own cooking show." What was my fancily cooked cuisine? Tomato soup, store brand, I might add, and grilled cheese. I think it's safe to say they were easily wowed. So where are you? And it might not be things that you grew up with, but it's just designs that you've created in your home or in your life. It could be things that you do at work or as part of your impact. But I'm just asking you to take a quick look with fresh eyes. I can tell you for me, I'm going to talk about cooking again. You might start to get the idea that I'm not a huge fan of cooking, and I'm not. It's one of the areas that I definitely kind of minimize my time on. And the thing is, we're all different. If for you, cooking brings peace and calm. I was actually with a good friend this last weekend, and she's like, "It's so peaceful to me. I love it. Let me cook." And I just thought, wow, I cherish you and I admire you. And I wish I would start feeling that way about cooking, but I don't. So it tends to be an energy zapper for me. It's just how I'm wired. So I've been a fan of my crock pot for years, and I love dump recipes. They sound kind of gross, but go check it out. Just do a Google search and they're amazing. You just drop the contents of the recipe in a freezer bag, throw it in the freezer, standing up. In the morning, you can pull it out, place it in the crock pot, still frozen, and it's ready for you when you get home. Partner it with a great rice cooker and you got some really simple meals. But so ask yourself, if it's that you've always done this, you don't really have to lock yourself in for a lifetime. Also consider, what committees are you on? What volunteering are you doing? Are there some things that you've been doing for a period that you haven't stopped and just taken fresh eyes look? How much time are you spending on social media or watching junk TV? Now, I have nothing against either, and I'm not saying you have to stop at all, but let's get real. Either of these can become huge time suckers. So if you need a little time at the end of your night to relax a little bit, watch some TV, be mindless for a bit, have at it. I'm just suggesting that be intentional. I mean, Netflix couldn't make it any easier to binge watch for hours. And I've definitely fallen victim. All of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, what time is it? And scrolling social media for a few moments can turn into hours without any thought. I mean, those videos that play automatically, again, time can fly by without intention. So take a look at your time with fresh eyes and let nothing be off limits. Keep track for a week or so if that's helpful. Just see where you're spending your time and then look to where you can make intentional choices that carve out extra time for you for what you really want to be spending time on. If you have an iPhone, you can also check the stats and see how much time you've been spending on each of the apps. It can be really eye-opening. So the next question is, where can you lower expectations? There are different seasons of life. Did you create some expectations for yourself, your home, your family, your work that made great sense during a calmer time? Making your impact or maneuvering through any busy time of life with some amount of peace requires recalibrating expectations to better fit the time. I still remember when, as a single mom, I had to lower my expectations for our pool. I'd always been proud of how sparkly blue I could keep it. Well, once the full complement of responsibilities fell on me as a single who hadn't downsized the home, it was no longer realistic to keep that pool that way. There are only so many hours in a day, and some things had to give. Good enough had to be good enough. So where are you holding tight to unrealistic expectations that are not a fit for your circumstance? Are they causing extra pressure, stress, and discouragement? Give yourself relief by adjusting where you must. The next question, what can you outsource? Make a list of activities you don't like or that you're not really great at and farm them out wherever you can. And I'm not just talking about hired help. Is there anyone in your household who could take on additional duties? Do you have kids old enough to start doing chores or doing additional chores? Now, I get it. This may also plop you back into the question above. Where could you lower expectations? I get it. They might not do things the way you would, but if it gets done well enough, can't that be good enough? Also, take a look at what you can hire out or even trade for. I mean, Fiverr is a great way, Fiverr, to find resources at a reasonable rate to get some of your administrative or creative tasks done. There's an endless list. So make your list and then be very creative. And again, maybe you have a friend that you can trade with. Maybe there are some skills that you have that they really don't or aren't good at, don't like to do. So look at lawn and landscaping, cleaning, laundry, driving kids, cooking, clerical activities, basic accounting duties, marketing and social media, emails and schedules, tutors. What kinds of things can you either trade for, outsource, or find others in the family that can help you out with? The next question, how will you capture your list? The written or typed lists are essential. If you don't get it out, the list sits in your head. If it sits in your head, you have to keep rehearsing it to make sure you aren't forgetting anything. I know you're laughing right now because you've done it or are doing it now. Rehearsing a list makes you less productive in the moment and stressed. Your mind will think that there's an endless number of tasks. It doesn't know the difference between a list of 5 things times 20. And you'll be afraid of forgetting something. So that adds extra stress. It can also rob you of sleep. Lying in bed when your mind is supposed to be quiet is the prime time for rehearsal. So get it out of your head and on paper or into a digital format. I'm a big fan of Toodle-Do or the tasks even for your calendar. You can put it in the task list or even decide when you're going to work on things and put it right into your calendar at the specific time. Excel's a great way too. And then whiteboards. Maybe you're a visual person. You just want to use a notebook and put your list there. The next question, how can you chunk down your large projects? Good from a practical standpoint. You can only do so much at once anyway. Unless your life is different from most, you'll never get large projects done if you tell yourself you need a solid week of uninterrupted time. But you can finish pieces of a project, 15, 30, or 90 minutes at a time. Chunking down makes it easier to fill in fragments of time with pieces of your priorities list. Again, I'll talk about toodle-do. You can actually put the amount of time that something will take. I used to list out the things that I could accomplish while I was waiting for my kids at their soccer practice. You can really run a report and be very effective with your time. Chunking down also helps you focus only on what's next. This is super helpful. I used to feel the full weight of a project until it was all done. That added way too much stress. In a large project, there's going to be an order that the tasks have to happen in, and you can't get it done with a click of a finger. If you're on step 3 but worrying or feeling the weight of step 20 as if it's got to happen now, you're increasing your stress exponentially. I know from personal experience. I had to learn to chunk it down and put the later tasks to the side in my mind. Look at what's in front of me now, and then worry about what's coming later. The next question is, what should be prioritized first? Knowing what you need to get done is step 1. Step 2 is prioritizing it all to fit into the time you have in a way that gets it done on time. Use your time with intention. When I'm prioritizing, I also pay attention to my energy. I know that my most creative time is earlier in the day, so prioritize tasks that require more focus into earlier time slots. I also consider what's happening in the world. You won't see me at a Costco on the weekend. I can go there during slower times, so choose to do that instead for overall better utilization of my minutes. So I hope these questions will help you capture some additional productive time and decrease some stress. I can't wait to see the impact you make with the newfound time. And if you're struggling with some difficult relationships or just some lingering relationships that have kind of been tucked away and with unresolved stuff, I've got a great tool. Head over to defeatthedrama.com/roadmap. Also, how can I help you in general? If you've got a challenge happening in work or life right now that's getting in the way of making your impact, head over to my website, defeatthedrama.com, click on the podcast tab, and reach out to me. I would love to share some strategies with you. Thanks for listening, and until next time, make it a great day.